Hello, Commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous Return from Beagle Point. We are continuing on our journey back to the bubble. However, after having made our way all the way out to Beagle Point, the purpose of the journey has been to increase our exobiology rank to the elite status, as well as hopefully make enough money to buy a fleet carrier, come back out into the black with all of our ships and stuff, and just kind of enjoy it that way. And maybe take some people along for the ride if they have any interest in tagging along. I don't have a specific topic for today's discussion, so we're just going to kind of wing it as we go and focus more on the gameplay today. Sometimes I just do episodes like that where I'm mostly just focused on just enjoying the game and not necessarily having some kind of quote-unquote wisdom to impart to you. So we're just going to go ahead and keep going. We do have a typical cycle of operations. For those of you who are just joining the series, we will hop into a system. As you can see here, we will pop the discovery scanner, as you can see on the bottom right of the screen. Then we will complete a fuel scooping operation. And then if there are 15-ish or less bodies, we'll go ahead and do a full-on scan of the system to see if there are any biological signatures available. Unfortunately, this system only has 3 bodies, and they're all identified, which means that they're almost certainly just a bunch of stars. So, yep, 3 stars, nothing else in the system, so we'll move on. We'll be looking for biological signatures. We'll be looking for bodies that have at least 2 biological signatures on them. And preferably not icy bodies, so that we can have a really good chance of finding some stratum tectonicus. Those are the 90 million credit options that we can find that make it really worth going and heading down to a planet. So I don't really have anything specific to talk about today. So I guess I'll just kind of do a general, you know, what am I doing with my channel kind of thing, since I don't really have anything else I can think to talk about. It's kind of, I mean, I guess a history of the channel kind of thing. It might be something interesting. I've been messing on and off with YouTube over the past couple of years just because I got it in my head that it would be kind of interesting to try to build a channel. But while I was still working full-time, I would just kind of do it every once in a while, messing around with it, not really taking it too seriously. I'd start doing some recordings, and I'd do that for a few weeks, and then I'd get bored with whatever I was doing, and then I would let it go and go back to doing real world, all that stuff. And, you know, there's just a lot of time and effort that goes into, or a lot of time, not necessarily effort, but there's a lot of time and focus that goes into doing any kind of video creation, especially when I first started. I was doing... I had to spend a lot... It took a long time... Why is my... Okay. That was weird. My mouse cursor wasn't working properly. Okay, making sure my sound is all working and everything. There's some kind of weird thing going on where the window did not capture my mouse, and so it was not going to keep it inside the window. Especially when I first started, there was a lot of time involved in just recording an episode and getting it ready to publish, because all of the overlays and things that you see that are on the videos now, I had to actually manually add those into a video and then re-render the entire video. Even though I wasn't changing anything or putting any major cuts or anything like that, I had to re-render the video to add those, to just add graphics on top of the video like what you see now. And that just, and especially with my computer, which isn't exactly the most powerful system in the world. I mean, it's not really that much of a slouch, but it's not, you know, it's especially not optimized for video editing. So the general rule of thumb for me was double the recording time, and that's about how long it took to produce a video. So if I was doing a 20-minute video, it took me about 40 minutes to record it, import it into or drag it into the video software, adjust the little things to put everything where I wanted it to be, and then wait for the render to be done. And you know, so one of the reasons why I ended up settling on a relatively short time frame on my videos is especially because back then when I was trying to do videos, it you know, however long the video was, double that time, and that's how long it took to make it. Now, I know a lot of people who spend hours and hours putting in a lot of time into like trying to heavily customize their videos, putting cuts in, time lapses, things like that. They probably spend quite a bit more than that. But I'm a relatively impatient person, and I don't like... There's a lot of highly detail-oriented tasks that I don't enjoy doing, and I try to avoid them wherever possible. And video editing is just one of those things, partly because I don't like fiddling around with things any more than I absolutely have to, but also just because of the fact that it was just a massive time-consuming thing when I wanted to be doing other stuff. So, you know, when I first started out, there was a lot of time and effort put into just making even the basic videos that I was doing at the time, because I didn't know how to do any of the stuff that I know how to do now. Then obviously you look at the fact that I'm able to talk a little bit more, ramble a little bit more, be a little bit more active in my communication, because I guess we're at over 1,000 videos at this point. So, I mean, I have hundreds of hours at the very least. I have hundreds of hours of practice just getting on here and talking over a period of time. This particular series, I don't even know how many videos we are into this particular series, and this series is almost all just me talking about whatever random stuff happens to pop into my head as we fly around space doing a bunch of stuff. So, you know, all right, so we have a biological source there. If you see up to the top right, biological feature number 1, but we want to find at least 2, and preferably not on an icy body, because on an icy body, a biological signature is almost certainly going to just be Fonticula, which doesn't really give that much. I mean, it gives a little bit, but I don't know if it's worth flying over, scanning, landing, taking all that time to do that. So, you know, there's definitely been an evolution of me as a content creator since from the beginning. Because if you go back and watch any of my original videos, you know, I was okay at talking, I was okay at playing the games, I was okay at, you know, some of the stuff that I was doing. But there's a confidence and a sort of default natural ability that starts to show itself once you start getting really comfortable with a process. And, you know, at this point I have the ability to as you can see, we're 7 minutes now into this video, and I have found a way to fill the silence by just rambling on about stuff. And, you know, I don't know how interesting it is. I like to think that it's relatively interesting, but, you know, that's the other problem. The other problem is that whatever I say is going to be interesting to somebody. It's going to be interesting to a certain portion of the population, but you know, with so many people out there in the world, you can't make content for everybody. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of people who enjoy the babbling content that I produce, and there's going to be a lot of people who get on and be like, "Dude, just shut up and just play the game." And you know, you can't try to make content that caters to everybody, because it's not feasible. It's not something that is possible to do. You have to just kind of make the content the way that you want to make it, and hope that enough people enjoy it that you know, it goes somewhere. And that's really the only thing that you can do. That I think one of the hardest things to do is to try to chase the audience. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that trap of trying to. Oh, okay, that works. A lot of people get stuck in that. Is this the next system? Okay, we happen to be pointed in the right direction. Or I don't know. Maybe I pointed us in there and then realized I needed to do it. It doesn't matter. I don't want to be the kind of content creator who shifts what I do based off of you know, what the audience decides to do, or what the audience decides to say, or like, I know that sounds like I don't care about my audience, but the reason for that is I've maintained from the very beginning that I'm really trying to focus on being a genuine content creator, and the only way you can do that is by not allowing what the comments section says, and frankly not allowing what your metrics say to change the way that you do things. Now, obviously, if you're looking to grow your channel, you can't completely 100% ignore those things. I mean, you have to. What kind of? Oh, it's an icy body. It's going to be Fonticula. You can't completely ignore those things. If what you're doing is causing your channel to tank, well, then obviously you need to do a little bit of self-reflection. But as long as what you're doing is not hurting you at the very least, and preferably as long as you're still growing, then, you know, you're going to be building a following of people who respect you because you do what you do things for real. You're not just saying or doing or whatever just because it's the popular thing of the moment. And, you know, the reality of that situation is that, you know, it's going to slow down your growth because you're not going to be chasing after what's popular. You're just going to be doing what makes sense to you. But my hope is, and you know, I think that this is probably the case. My hope is that if I just do things the way it makes sense to me to do them, then the people who do decide to follow me are going to be much more aligned with my point of view and the way that I do things. And when the landscape changes, more of them are going to be a little bit more inclined to hang with me because they're, you know, they like what I provide. I guess. I don't know. Something like that. In general, I think it's better to just be a genuine person and do things that way rather than put on a fake persona and pretend to be something that you're not. And that's what I've been trying to do with my channel. I think I do that part really well. I don't know that I necessarily communicate that the best. I had received a comment from one of my members. Ooh. Okay, we're definitely going to come check that out because that could be Stratum tectonicus. I received a comment from one of my members that was basically saying something to the effect of shouldn't say something about how I don't care about what people think or something like that. I'm not really sure what they meant. I asked for a little bit of clarification and I haven't got it yet. But you know, especially random people who aren't necessarily invested in the channel, I'm going to have much less of an interest in their point of view or what they have to say versus, you know, the people who actually care about the channel and are actually trying to help me grow into something bigger. Like, you know, those of you who choose to, you know, even just regularly watching my content and helping out with the metrics on it, you're going to get a much better chance of having an effect on what I do than some random people who come in and try to tell me what I can and can't talk about for my channel. You know, those of you who choose to support what I'm doing here are very much appreciated, and I don't ever want you guys to feel like that's not the case. That's not what I mean. It's mostly the random people who decide to come in and say, oh, you can't talk about money, or you can't talk about channel this, or you can't talk about your goals, or you can't talk about, you can't. It's like, no, I can, because it's my channel, and if that's what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do. And if people don't like it, there's other people that they can watch. I try not to dwell on certain topics for too long, because I know it gets annoying to hear somebody whining and complaining about this or that, you know, over and over and over again. And you know, this video turned into that again. But I'm mostly trying to get to a channel specific situation. But like I said, since I don't have since I don't have a specific topic in mind, I'm just kind of rambling and going where my mind takes me. So yeah. In the beginning of the channel, it took a very long time to produce videos, and that's kind of why I ended up sticking to the, you know, 20 to 30 minute time frame. I mean, I think originally I was trying to not do more than like 15 minutes because I knew it was going to take a long time to do all of that. But now I'm at the point, okay, I really wish that my throttle would stop doing that. I don't know what's causing it. I think my joystick might be having an issue. All right, so we're close enough that we can do the probes now. We just need 4 probes for this one, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we'll find out that hopefully this has Tectonicus on it. So yeah, I guess I'm mostly just trying to get to, you know, the current state of the channel and then ideally the future of the channel, since this is really the only video series that I have where I can actually talk about stuff. We have, oh, yep, stratum. That's probably going to be some Tectonicus, so that's good. Let's get the cruise control turned off. There we go. So, you know, the current state of the channel, I have 4 videos that I'm trying to do. I have this here, obviously, which is kind of my, you know, spacey talking to... Stop. What is going on with my throttle? I'm really getting annoyed with that. Okay, there's something going on with my throttle, and it will not. Because the way it typically works is I can set my throttle to 0 and then use the keyboard keybinds to set it where I want it to be. So that way I can have a little bit of... I feel like I personally have a little bit more control over what's going on when I do it that way. I don't like using the throttle for fine-tuned stuff like this because I don't really need it. All right, full throttle for that. And it also makes it so that I don't space out and forget to put it down to 0 when we're done with the glide, and then I end up slamming into the ground. But anyways, I have this video series that I'm doing, which is, you know, I guess the primary goal of it is to, you know, have a place where I can just come and kind of talk about stuff. Because the other games that I play don't really provide that opportunity. I have the hunting game, which will continue to be playing for the foreseeable future. Partially because I still enjoy playing it, but also a lot of it just has to do with the fact that I spent a lot of money on that game when it was on sale and ended up buying pretty much all of the DLC for it. So I spent the money on it, and damn it, I'm gonna continue playing it until I've exhausted all of the possibilities for it. And then they also have a new excuse me. They also have a new map coming out pretty soon, which I'm going to make sure that I get, which seems like it's going to be set in India. So we're gonna might have an opportunity to go after some Bengal tigers. That's going to be kind of fun. But yeah, so those have been my two kind of bread and butter series over the last, I don't know, many months. They're the ones I really focus on because the hunting series was the one that first started getting a decent amount of attention, and then obviously this one has received a consistent amount of attention over the last several months. And then I had other games that I was kind of trying, but I'm trying to get away from locking myself into content. I don't want to get stuck as just an Elite Dangerous content creator. I don't want to get stuck into just a Hunter Call of the Wild content creator, and I don't want to, you know, I want to have flexibility to be able to have variety in my gameplay content. So I don't really know what the formula is for me to make that something that's viable, because I know you have the algorithm that really doesn't like it when you switch things up too much. It has a hard time figuring out who to put your video in front of when you're constantly changing things up. But then also just the fact of, you know, building an audience. Not everybody the problem with me is that I am an eclectic video game player, and there's a lot of different kinds of games that I like to play. And the problem is that I think a lot of YouTube gaming content consumers are not. They have a specific game that they like and they want to watch, and you know, a lot of times they're not willing to follow you into something else. So it's an uphill battle trying to figure out, or it's an uphill battle to try to build a channel when you're not able to, you know, find an audience and really focus on that audience and try to build that audience as much as you can. And it's kind of a risk. I don't want to say it's a risk. I mean, it is kind of, but it's one of those, if I can break through the variety barrier is what I'm going to call it. If I can break through that variety barrier and get to the point to where maybe there's a lot of people who watch my content because they like me rather than just the games that I'm playing, then I'm kind of hoping that that will offer me the freedom to kind of do what I want to do in the future, rather than just getting stuck doing one specific thing and then I'm locked into that, and if I try to do something else then my channel goes away. Then I really don't want to get stuck into that. I think we might have to exit to the menu, and because it seems like I got stuck. So we'll exit to the menu, we'll hop back in. It's really frustrating when that happens. Get back into the game. Seems like we're on the ground, so ideally we'll be able to just hop in and grab this sample. Eventually, if it'll load. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Okay, there we go. So let's go grab our last little sample over here. I think this was the third. Yeah, the little progress bar on the canister says that this is our last sample. Then we'll go ahead and grab some bacteria. And then we'll probably call it an episode. Okay, is there bacteria right next to me, or do I need to fly around? I think I need to fly around for that, because that's Tectonicus there. Yeah, I don't think we have any bacteria right here. So yeah, my goal for my channel is to try to get to variety. There are a lot of content creators who have found really great success finding a specific game in a very specific niche, and they're able to carve out a YouTube existence there. But for me, you know, as much as it would be nice to be able to find that, I would much rather try to find something that has some longevity to it. And the only way that happens is if you can become a YouTube personality. And that's kind of where it's at. So that's, you watch longtime streamers and content creators like Asmongold and you know, people like him. The reason people watch him is because they like him. They like his presenting style. They like the way that he does things. And he could play whatever games he wants to play. People are going to watch him because they like him. And, you know, it's kind of a, how do I say this? It's kind of a catch-22 for me, because in reality, I don't care if people like me. I grew up as an introverted, nerdy, you know, got bullied as a kid, and that developed a tough, thick skin where I'm like, you know, I don't care if you like me. If you don't like me, whatever. I'm only interested in hanging out with people who actually, you know, who actually have something to offer as a friend or a companion or whatever. Is that? Nope, that's stratum. All right, where is the next bacteria? Right? That's not bacteria. That is just, okay, where are we? Get up off the ground here a little bit. There we go. You can slam into the ground. That works too. You know, I developed over the years, especially early in my life, this "I don't care what you think about me" attitude. And that's, you know, that's a good way to make sure that you're never in a position where you have to worry about being hurt by people. So, you know, the reality is that, you know, deep down in my core, I don't necessarily care about what people think about me, but at the same time, you know, if I'm going to be doing this YouTube thing, I kind of have to care a little bit, especially if I'm trying to follow a model that provides me with some kind of longevity, i.e. the variety model, which means, you know, I have to get people to like me as a person who generally chooses a path that makes it so that I don't care about that. So that makes it a little bit hard for me. Because, you know, my natural instinct is to be like, whatever. If you don't like me, I don't give a crap. And you can't really be like that if you're going to try to be. I mean, you can if you make that your thing. You can. A lot of people get on the internet and they make a name for themselves being the jerk, and you know, that's a way to go. But again, I'm trying to be a genuine person, and you know, while I can be a jerk, and many times I am a jerk, my default behavior is not to just be a jerk to everybody. My default behavior is to be nice and congenial and, you know, treat you with respect and dignity until you give me a reason not to. So, you know, I'm kind of the wishy-washy, middle of the road kind of person where, you know, I'm an asshole when I have to be, and I'm nice most of the time when I can be, and you know, that's kind of an average viewpoint, and not a lot of people are going to be interested in that. So, I don't know. Like I said, I started this out by saying I'm really trying to just be as genuine as I can be, and hopefully that will somehow morph into people want to watch and have an interest in me as a person, and just, you know, the gameplay is just something that we do together so that you guys have a good time just listening to me talk or watching me play or doing whatever it is that I'm doing. The future of the channel is very uncertain. I'm not grown up. My channel hasn't grown to the point where I'm confident that this is going to be the thing that I do. I like to think that it will. I have channel members, and I appreciate you guys, and you guys make me feel like I could make a go of this, because you're willing to spend, you know, a little bit of money every month to support this dream that I have. And, you know, I know sometimes I get on here and I have episodes like last time where I talk about hopelessness and things like that, and you have to listen to me, you know, worrying about whether things are going to work out or this or that and the other thing. And, you know, I understand that it's kind of anticlimactic for you as somebody who likes the work that I do, and then I get on and I talk about that stuff. But, you know, again, I'm trying to be genuine, and those are feelings that I have. And rather than following this model where people tell you, you know, there's certain topics that are taboo and you shouldn't talk about them, you know, no, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You guys are my viewers, and you guys choose to watch my content. And if I can't be honest, then what's the point? You know what I mean? I could sit up here and pretend like I don't have any doubts and, man, everything's perfect, but it's not. And this is the only video series I have where I can talk about those things. So hopefully some of you guys will understand. There's a lot of people who just don't have the capacity, and I don't mean intellectual capacity. They just don't have, and I don't even want to say emotional capacity. They just don't have the give a crap to listen to anybody talking about in a genuine way about a situation, and, you know, or get to the gaming content, or, you know, talk about the stuff that I want to hear. And, you know, there's a lot of people that just don't want to hear it, and that's fine. But I'm going to be genuine. I'm going to do what I got to do, and, you know, I'm hoping that it works out. It may not. Statistics will tell you that it likely will not, but I'm giving a go of it, and I'll keep going until it's obvious that it's not an option for me. So anyway, that's enough babbling for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the topic for the day and the gameplay. Be sure to click the like button if you did, so that the YouTube algorithm will know, and send the video out to as many people as possible. If you are not a subscriber, please consider doing so now, so that when the next video comes out, it will show up in your feed and you will be able to watch it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members get early access to all of my content, so be sure to click the join button. Check out the list of options available there and decide if any of those are right for you. If you are not interested in a channel membership, you can always leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. Direct contributions such as these are greatly appreciated, and a critical component to helping to turn this channel into a full-time gig, which is the dream. So again, thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to come back for the next one, and I'll see you then.